Hello everyone, my name is Joey Cummings, also known as Halfway, and I am an inspiring motivational speaker. I've been through over 125 institutionalizations in the rehabilitative field and mental health. So I have a plethora of experience that I believe is pertinent, that can be made useful. And I would love to speak to you today about some of my experiences, strength, and hope that can help. I'm out here in beautiful Fort Pierce, Florida, living in a group home right now, pursuing my recovery, and I want to just talk to some people, hopefully, out there that I might reach out to and see this video, hear some ideas, concepts that might revolutionize how we go about substance abuse treatment, how we go about organizing, compartmentalizing ourselves, and ultimately just structuring the whole integrity of substance abuse treatment standards and protocols. So, I'll start out with the simple fact that we're not doing enough. Some simple statistics to throw out at you. We got 49 million people suffering. Okay? 2/3 of the nation in Al Anon. If you don't know what Al Anon is, that means suffering family members that have people with addiction. 2/3 of the nation, it's 200 million people. Guess how many sober living houses we have available? 17,000. 17,000 houses are available to those 49 million people suffering. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. So I'm going to dive right into that. First, I'm going to get into something that I believe is a little bit more pertinent. I'm going to dive into inpatient care, and then we'll dive into sober living. So right now what we have is a lot of bandage on open wounds that are just pouring out blood. You're putting a band-aid on something that needs, thing needs to be cauterized. The thing needs stitches. Okay? We're dealing with a very serious situation. These people need serious help. And we need to utilize every available resource. And when I say every available resource, I mean every available resource. This is America. It's the greatest nation alive, right? That's what we say, right? Walk around, we say it. We ain't living it. We ain't. I'm gonna calm down. We ain't living it, okay? We ain't living it. We have a plethora of resources around us, and I'll dive into some very simple tactics that we could utilize that we are not utilizing. Spend a half hour on a phone, and I could probably get someone out of a room in a mental health facility that refuses to participate. And I could dive into that tactic. We'll get into that later. So let me just get into some very simple tactics right now. Classifications. We need to start classifying these people and comprehending the level of care that the individual needs. Right now, you have the person filling out forms, and every time they go someplace, they got to fill the form out all over again. We're not compartmentalizing our efforts in any manner that is prolific, that displays any form of organizational skills that is excellent, that is profound, that is we're awing anyone. You're not impressing me, okay? You're not. And you can. It doesn't suit you. It's available to you. You're smart, you're capable, you're motivated, and you're able to do it. So let's do it. Long-term care. So here's what I'm saying, and here's what I'm talking about. Here's what I'm proposing. I'm talking about building a university, a college campus, to treat substance abuse. An entire college campus. High-level care, long-term care for people that need that level of care. And there will be this level of care over here and this level of care over here. You will classify them within understanding when they take this certain level of testing so that you can classify them and understand where they fall within that hierarchy. If they reach this level of hierarchy and they need that level of care, they will fall into this range. They will go to something that I am naming Unity University. I believe there should be 3 of them. Serenity and also Hope University. Okay? Be long-term care. Be everything you see on an average college campus. And you know what breeds innovation? Competition. Where's the organized sports on these rehabilitation centers? I've been over to 125 rehabilitation centers. I ain't seen a single one of them with rehabilitation that have organized sports programs. You ever seen the movie Gridiron Gang? Rock, Dwayne Johnson, the people's champ. Check it out. Look at the statistics that he improved by using football in the Department of Corrections. Take a look. Take a look at what he was able to do. Take a solid look. Okay? This isn't rocket science here, okay? These are very simple things that you can do. You put everything that you see on a regular college campus. I'm talking about housing 10,000, 5,000, 12,000 people. We got to figure out a figure that works. You want more, not less. The more people you put on there, the more opportunity you create for connection. Because the opposite of addiction is connection. That's what you want. They want to throw something at you. They're throwing at you supply and demand, right? Let the police go after the supply. I'm here for the demand. I don't play no games. I'm not fooling around. I might as well be a goddamn inmate advocate. I might as well be a goddamn savant up in this bad mamma jamma. I don't play no games when it comes to rehabilitation and how serious I am. I'm going to take over the goddamn rehabilitation institution in a profound manner, in a prolific manner, and I'm going to rehabilitate so many minds you won't even know which way is up when I'm finished in doing what I'm doing. So I'm here to just help people. Trust God, clean house, help others. This college campus will have everything that you can imagine. We'll have a core class of electives, and core classes are important, so aren't the electives. They transition over a period of time to allow a person to be met halfway. I believe in meeting a person halfway. Walk a mile in another man's shoes before judging them. Understand, comprehend where they're coming from before suddenly fabricating some story about them that makes you feel better about how they pursue their goals, how they put themselves out into the world, how they present themselves, how they judge others, how any essence of them is suddenly misread. You can't just judge a book by its cover necessarily. You gotta look within someone and see the potential within someone. See, I can look within something and see value all around me. There's all kinds of things that we don't see value in that I can see value in. All kinds of things. This college campus could have everything. Could have a skate park. I'd like to build it someplace where you can connect with a safari. A safari, man. Animal therapy. The expansion of animal therapy. Travel there once a week. Have them connected. I guarantee they would volunteer their time, because once you get this perpetually in motion and people hear about what we're building, what we're trying to create, the movement is going to be prolific. I'm talking about building the next Juilliard. It's going to be creatively arts based at Unity University. The other one can be business based. You can fundamentally shift it however you want. Each university can have its own base of individual genre. We got to get together and fundamentally decide those inner details in some kind of think tank. Those don't matter at the moment. I have all kinds of little tiny details that are to be seen. The bottom line here is the college campus has to have everything. It needs to be safe. Safety is the #1 priority of all the students that I hope to help oversee. I'm gonna have goddamn dogs that sniff drugs walking around this college campus with walls around the whole thing. One of the universities I like to base it off of is University of Central Florida, Orlando. I like the structure of it. Outer rings, it's a ring with another ring around it. We can structure it in all sorts of different manners. The bottom line is it needs to be organized, it needs to be structured, it needs to have a hierarchy. Just like when you go to college or you go to high school, you have a class president, right? We would have a class president that represents the school. Same kind of concept. Very, very simple concept, right? You don't see that at any rehab. Why is that? Why is that? See what I'm saying? So we have to do these things. We have to do them together. We have to stay united. Unity is the most powerful word you can come across in the English dictionary. Unity. That's what we need. We need to unite. Unite behind a cause that's just worthy. Unite behind a cause that gives people purpose. We're going to give them something to call their own. Which brings me to my next point. The expansion of Habitat for Humanity. I don't know if you've heard of the program, but it's an amazing program that's gone undervalued. You build a home. You learn the inner details of how to build a home. Put the wood up, build the electric, the drywall, shingles, the whole 9 yards. You work as a team with all your teammates. So you learn teamwork. You learn how to build a house. You learn showing up on time. You get some discipline in there. You earn a certain amount of hours. And ultimately, you could structure it in a manner that you get a down payment on a house. You could find friends. And you could organize it in such where now you have a house. You're graduating rehab. And you got a house. And you have roommates. And the payment structure is now with a roommate you get along with. And you can afford the payments. And you have an education that you're now prepared for the environment you're walking into. Whoa. Watch out. I got my students feeling dangerous. And that's where it's at. That's where it's at. That's what I want from my students. So, the fight continues, man. The fight is on. You know what I'm saying? The fight is on. Right there, baby. Right there. So, this college campus could be a place of beauty. Absolute place of beauty. Now, I believe it needs to be structured in a manner where there needs to be a way for them to get in there and organize it. So there needs to be a website. There needs to be a portal. There needs to be some kind of compartmentalization so that all this can interact. I call it an umbrella network. And they need to be worthy of coming to the rehab. There needs to be structure, there needs to be integrity, and the safety of the rehab needs to be protected, right? So I'm calling it Synergy Shift. We're going to have an umbrella network. We're going to go out and we're going to connect with a bunch of other rehabs. We're going to get them to go into a 60-day program, potentially a 90-day program. Like I said, we got to get to a think tank. We got to decide what's best to protect the integrity of the rehab and decide if it's a good figure, a right figure, a worthy figure. Because people are going to disagree. 60, 90 days, and we're going to go back and forth. And if it's fair or not, I want to go to the university. I want to go on to Hope University. People are going to argue. I'm good. I'm ready to go. I don't want to stay here another 30 days. So we got to figure out that figure. But the bottom line here is the umbrella network will be vast. And there needs to be almost like a social network. When you get on there, there'll be all kinds of stuff to do. You can earn participation points, you can do assignments, you can turn that participation points into gift cards, into money, into merchandise you can buy at the store, t-shirts, create all kinds of cool designs that people can buy, cool slogans. I've developed 7 E's that I believe are fundamentally sound to go in to Hope University. And I'll share those with you now. You have education. You have exercise. You have emotion. You have energy. You have equality. You have encouragement. And you have enlightenment. With those 7 E's, you have a powerhouse. Knockout punch. Knockout punch. Ready to take the world on. Okay? That's how I view it. To me, the 12 steps, got a book from 1934. You go to a college, a book 5 years old is worthless. So why are you taking a book from 1934 and cramming it down these kids' throats? It ain't resonating. You got a 5 to 8% response rating, success rating, depending on geographically where you're located. It ain't resonating. There are bits and pieces within that book that are great to be pulled apart and taken in and maybe reread, maybe reanalyzed, and put into practical use. Bill W. was a great man. It's not resonating. 5 to 8% is garbage. Because you can go and look. 5% of people get sober on their own without anyone's help. So what the hell is this book even doing? Okay? I'm just saying. These are very simple statistics that anyone can look up. Anyone can look up. So, we need to incorporate that 12 steps in with a bunch of other stuff because they're just throwing it in and saying, this is your rock. This is not your rock. This is an elective. Okay? On top of a bunch of other things that can be incorporated. That's what that is. Okay? That's the reality of the situation. I'm not trying to hate on the 12 steps. There's a bunch of people that get a lot out of it. I believe meetings are great, and I could go into that as well. I'm going to continue on talking about this rehab for a little bit longer, and I'll dive into sober living situations. So Synergy Shift will have some prerequisites as well to get into the rehab. Prerequisites will consist of an essay, be a vast array of different topics for them to choose from, so they're not boxed in to some particular structure. They feel like now they have to do this, they have to do that. No, I want them to feel some flexibility here. I want to feel flexibility. I don't want them to feel surrounded. I want them to feel like an open hand is reaching out to them as much as possible throughout the whole process. So there'll be multiple topics for them to choose from, and they'll have to write an essay showing that they want this, showing that they're ready to make a change. And there'll be people within their respective departments that analyze these essays, and I'm not saying they're going to grade them, but ultimately they're going to be picking and choosing, just like any other college picks and chooses who comes to their university. There's going to be a number of applicants, and I believe this idea is going to catch on. I can't believe it hasn't already. It's a completely obvious idea. To me, this is blatantly obvious. I don't know why it hasn't occurred. I don't know if that's insulting or something, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. So, other than that, they need to commit to hair testing, which is something that's gone undervalued. I don't know why we don't do hair testing or find a way to make it more affordable. If it's expensive, that's why you haven't done it. It's one of the most obvious things that you can do to help keep a person sober. Hair testing. Detect drugs for up to 6 months within the body. Some can do even longer, potentially. I mean, if you knew you couldn't get away with it and they were going to test your hair, I'm just trying to put together why we haven't done hair testing within our structuralization of any Department of Correction or any other institutionalization. I'm trying to put this together. So they need to do hair testing. They have to commit to hair testing, random, scheduled. And I get that some of them are going to fail up to a certain amount of days. That's fine. They're still going to have to commit to it. They're going to have to be honest about any of their use. They're going to have to commit to urine testing, random and scheduled. They're going to have to commit to saliva testing, deemed necessary, will be used. So, and other additions can be added. Other additions can be added. They could have to earn a certain amount of participation points. Depending if they have criminal activity going on, they could have to go and do community service. Depending on their situation within the individual itself. Each situation can vary to protect the integrity of the university. So, a lot going on there, but Synergy Shift could be rocking and rolling, man. I'm telling you, it could be an amazing social network for people to access treatment, not only for addiction, but also for mental health. It can really revolutionize substance abuse treatment. Because right now, we are scattered. We are sloppy. And there's no reason for it. We have the technology, we have the people, we have the personnel, we have the ability in human resources department. It's time to compartmentalize our efforts. And it is time to get people to see that we have structured ourselves in a way that is prolific. Prolific. And they will buy into a system. Like, as if Bill Belichick or another amazing head football coach showed up and they just hear what he has to say and the whole team just buys into it. They just buy into it, man. They buy into it and they believe and everyone gets behind it. And it's perpetual. And once it's in motion, it can't be stopped. It can't be stopped. All right. So that's a beautiful thing, huh? It makes my heart warm, man. It makes my heart warm. I worked very hard in it. Very hard in it. And it's nice to share it with everyone. I hope I didn't offend anyone. I hope you enjoyed that aspect. Now I'm going to dive into sober living. All right, so sober living. I want you to understand something very simple. I like analogies. The Bible is riddled with analogies, in case you didn't realize that, to help you understand and simplify things. Simplify things not only for the present, so you can understand the present, but to simplify them for the future, so you can understand what needs to come for the future. So I like analogies. So we have 5-star restaurants. We have 5-star hotels, right? Beautiful. Going on vacation. 5-star hotel, right? Well, why don't we have 5-star sober living? Why isn't that graded? The hotel has very little effect on society. I mean, not really. I mean, kind of, not really. Why isn't there a hierarchy for sober living? Stop and think about that. Just give you a second there. Let that sink in. Doesn't make sense, right? So I am proposing, it's going to have to get governmental. The government's going to have to step in or something, right? I don't know if we're going to be able to just go around raiding all of them by civilian means. So I am proposing to the government, J.D. Vance and Donald J. Trump Sr., I am proposing to you a hierarchy for sober living housing. And the best way to do that is the same way you have amazing restaurants. Franchise them. Find something that works and duplicate it. And let me tell you what works. Some things you've very simply been overlooking. Very simply been overlooking. Right now you got sober living houses, and you got people living on top of one another. People worried about their money that own the place, right? Understandable. Understandable. What if I told you you could make pretty much the same amount of money, or maybe even a little bit more money? Do a better job, and the people would be happier. Put a little bit more work in the front end, but ultimately people would be happier. So what does that look like? I'm talking about single rooms for every individual. The rooms would be smaller. They'd be customized to some extent. I'm talking about very some simple things you could do. Raise the bed up off the ground, storage underneath, mount things on the wall, table folds down from the wall. So now you got that. Door shuts. It's got a lock on it, keypad with a number. Type the number in. The manager is the only one that knows that number, the house manager. You know the number as the resident because it's your room. The house manager knows the number because he's the house manager. That's it. And it's your room. This is your space. This is your recovery. No one else's. Yours. Take it. You don't need to be sitting there worried someone's going to steal your clothes, steal your credit card, steal your pills, steal your pillowcase, for God's sakes. I'm sick of the bullshit. Okay? So, oh man. Ultimately, people need to focus on themselves. So that's what I'm naming it. My sober living environment is called Focus Recovery. Focus Recovery. And it will become a franchise. I will franchise it and I will build 5,000 locations. 5,000. That's my goal. Lofty goal, I suppose, right? Drop in the hat as far as I'm concerned. All right? 5,000 locations. That's my goal. How long will it take? I don't know, but I'm sitting here and just starting out, and I got all these ideas. And I'm telling you right now, I think big, and I don't take no crap from no one anymore. I'm ready to help people. I'm ready to give my all to this. So, the sober living environment would also include the capability to work from home. These individuals are often individuals that can struggle in environments where drugs can interlude. So they're even more likely to be individuals that could function well working from home. They need to have that capability made available to them. So their rooms would be structured in a manner where they could work right from their room. So some companies require certain capabilities for that. So each room would be hardwired with internet. Every single room in my particular facility would be hardwired with internet to meet those capabilities if needed. I'd be reining in donations because I'm a marketing whiz personally, and we would figure out a way to get some computers in there for every single resident, or we would figure something out. Maybe the first month they're out there working, and then we'll get them rocking and rolling into some programming. Which brings me to my next point. Community centers. We need to build some community centers to train all these people struggling with addiction in various certification programs so that they can get the education that they need to apply themselves practically and go out and achieve the goals they want for their life. I'm talking about things like lead generation for marketing. I'm talking about things like Python computer coding. I'm talking about things like creative writing. The list goes on and on. You could become an insurance salesman and get certified in insurance. You could become a travel agent and get certified as a travel agent and be a travel agent. You could do a number of different things and get certifications in and come home and start working from home and just work 1099. You could work in sales. There's so many opportunities to work from home, and there's so many opportunities to learn from home as a student as well. If they wanted to go back to school, now they have the opportunity to learn from their room, and they have a quiet area in which to do so. And of course, there also would be common areas, little living room area that's nice, clean. There would be a hierarchy within it as well. There would be a house manager. There would be someone that, is house leader. There would be someone there that maybe volunteers, cleans. Maybe they get paid. You could structure it in all kinds of different manners. But here's one of the most important elements of focused recovery. Front desk. Front desk, someone's always there. That's how mine would be. Sounds difficult for most sober livings, right? That's what I would have. I'd have a front desk, and I would have a huge facility that houses 75 to 100 people. Build it bigger. We're going too small. Build bigger. Build them bigger. And organize it better. With better leaders. 75 to 100 people per facility is about the perfect figure I would go for. And I had a house manager, and I would have a front desk leader sitting there, maybe even two of them, depending on the size. They're always there. You want to leave, you sign out. Time in, and when you come back, you got to sign in. Sign in, you sign out. In, out, in, out. There's always somebody there keeping an eye on you. Managing the place, overseeing the place, making sure it's safe, making sure it's secure, making sure people are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Checking in, handing in their community service forms, handing in forms saying that they're going and applying for jobs, seeing how they're doing with their careers, just checking in, just how are you? How's your mother feeling? Is she doing better with her illness? Whatever it is that's going on in their lives, they're there for them. That's their job, and they care. Their job is to care, to be there. And they don't quit, they don't give up. They're always there. Structure the kitchen in a certain manner. Personally, I put locks in the fridges. They lock at nighttime. I don't know. Maybe key code the fridges if you really wanted to. I don't know. Maybe I'm going too far. Somebody steals my food when I'm in sober house, I get pretty pissed off. So, quite frankly, if I could afford it, I'd put locks in the fridges. Sounds like a big investment, right? Is it? Is it? Over $500 billion a year is being wasted every single year because of addiction. $500 billion. Over $500 billion every single year, like clockwork. Over 117,000 people dead. 49 million people suffering. over 200 million people in Al Anon suffering. Is it expensive? Is it? 2/3 of the nation suffering? I'd move heaven and earth. I'd part the clouds. I'm ready to die for what I believe in. So, it's a lovely day. I've been praying a lot. All my goals feel so large, some moments that feels almost unattainable, but I know in my heart that I can reach them, that they are just worthy, that they have value, they have cause, that I am a servant of the Lord, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, Emmanuel, Yeshua, that He is coming. The things I've seen, you wouldn't believe. I've been through very spiritual things in my life. And I just want to be a messenger of the good word and do what I was sent to do and stay in my lane where I know I was put to do God's work. So I'm going to continue my path on the path to Pantheon. And I love you all. I hope you enjoyed what I had to share. And if you have anything to add, if you have anything that you think could help, feel free to let me know. I love working in teams. I thrive in competition. But at the same time, I rhino hide. Tell me how you feel. So, don't be afraid. Love you guys. Take care.